YouTube, Musty Hobbit back, and I have some catching up to do. I have a number of pickups and garage sale finds and trades that I wanted to kind of get out of the way, but I just haven't really had the time to put together a video. So I'm glad to finally have a few minutes here to take care of things, so I thought I would show you what I've got. The first set of things that I found, start with the garage sales. I actually came across, and if you remember from a previous video, I had mentioned that I found some new shelves. One of them being this one back here, a nice tall shelf. Found that for $5 at a church sale, just locally, and it seems to fit pretty well. I still don't know what everything's going to be, so some things are placeholders, but eventually that will be a pretty nice display for me. I do have one other display case which I'm not ready to show off just yet until I kind of get things situated there, but soon enough I will let you guys see what we got there. At that same church sale, though, I managed to find, and this is not something I normally collect for, is original Transformers. In fact, this garage sale day that I had, I kept finding, I found a few. So to start, and the one that I'm probably the most proud of is this one here. And so this is Slag, and he's one of the Dinobots. I again am not overly familiar with my Transformers. I kind of came in late to the game just because I was very young at that point in time. But I know I always liked Grimlock, and then I was a big dinosaur kid when I was young. So happy to find him. Again, I think the only thing that's missing is the accessories, some of the weapons and things like that. Found him at that same church sale. This is Perceptor, and I have him sort of transformed into, he's supposed to be a telescope, or a microscope, sorry. He's missing what would be his cannon, which would sit right in here, and that would be the microscope section of that. So I know that from some of the guys that I listened to on the Transformers and Beer podcast, they were really looking forward to seeing what I had found. I know I had posted this on Twitter, but again, I don't normally pick these up, but it was something that I really couldn't pass up. Those were 50 cents a piece, so I'm pretty content there. The other three Transformers I found that day, and one of them is not a Transformer, so you can correct me. This is Crasher, and I've been told that he's a GoBot. He's sort of that F1 racer car. Somebody had this in a free bin, so I couldn't pass on that. And then I don't know who this is, so maybe you guys can help me identify this one. And I would transform them here, but I don't know. I am not very good at that part, so I can't do it quick enough that it would be worthy of the time. And then this one I think is from some of the newer movies. We're missing some arms here, but he looks like an Audi almost. So again, if you can identify these just by look here, please let me know who I've got. I don't know if this will inspire more Transformer finding. Again, I'm not collecting those actively, so when these kind of fall into my lap, that's kind of what why I picked them up. As part of that garage sale weekend, I stopped at a Goodwill, so I managed to pick up, this was just sitting on top of the DVD, so I get the feeling that somebody looked at this and passed on it, and I'm glad that they did, because it's the collector's edition of the Legend of Zelda cartoon. And so this, I remember watching this. They would intersperse these between the Super Mario Brothers Super Show. Now I have the entire season on DVD here. Pretty ecstatic to find that, and the fact that no one else had snatched it up in that time is great. Another garage sale, and again, these I got for a total of 50 cents, but we have, these are the 1992 releases of Star Wars, Empire Strikes Back, and Return of the Jedi. So I had recently found the mid-90s release. These ones, again, it's just nice to have the artwork on these, is the poster art, and it's just fantastic to look at. So happy to have those. I don't know how many more sets of those original movies I will look for, but pretty happy to find those. So that garage sale weekend, it was kind of unproductive. I didn't get a ton of great stuff, so usually, you know, you're out there, you're trying to find, you know, something that will fit into the collection. And so I happened to hit up a local game shop that's local to the area I was in, but not local to me. So they have a table at their booth, or at their store, that's basically everything is $1 if you get 5, so 5 for 5. And so I went and picked up some relatively good titles, and actually quite happy with what I got out of here. So there are 10 in total. These are all disc-based games, but on one occasion I picked up the Platinum Hits version of Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare, which everyone says is the pinnacle of the Call of Duty series. We got Project Gotham 3, and this was a launch title for the 360. I got Crackdown. And Rainbow Six Vegas 2. One of the cool things about this one is that if you have the Xbox Vision camera, you can map your face onto your multiplayer character. And I remember borrowing my camera from a friend to do that. But there's some pretty interesting multiplayer modes in here, so I would suggest it if you are at all into tactical shooters. It's pretty interesting. And then I picked up a couple PS3 games, and these are ones I don't have a PlayStation 3, but these were kind of staples, so I figured I couldn't pass them up for $1 a piece. So we have Infamous and God of War 3. And then I also grabbed copies of Gears of War 2, Fable 3, and I know that people give this game a negative marks compared to Fable 2, just because Fable 2 was that good. I enjoyed this. I played this when it had come out, so I'm glad to have this. I am missing Fable 2. I will find it at some point. Hopefully that Dollar Table turns over their inventory from time to time. Maybe we can find something there. Then also a copy of Halo 4. A little rough on the cover art, but I had traded in my copy of Halo 4, so I definitely needed to make sure I had a copy. Again, really good game. I enjoyed the multiplayer and I played it a lot, but it was again $1. I can definitely make that work. And then the last one I got was, you know, an Xbox title. It was one of the non-sports titles that was on the table, and that's Chicken Little. So don't have much to say about this one, other than looks like your sort of mascot platformer 3D action game. So all of that for $1 a piece, I think I'll take it. The other things that I picked up from that shop, again, just because I didn't have copies, was Halo 3 ODST. Again, had this, played it, love Firefight. Firefight's a great mode, and I'm glad that they are finally reintroducing it to Halo 5. But I'm glad to pick up a nice copy there. And then this was one of the first games that I owned for the 360, and I had this collector's edition as well, and it's Perfect Dark Zero, and it comes in this nice steel book. I can clean it up a little bit. It's got some sticker residue on it, but pretty nice. Lots of you got 2 discs, some interesting things, and if somebody can help me clarify what this is, it looks like a security card of some sort, but I'm not totally sure. But again, pretty happy to find a nice copy. I'd really like to get all the launch titles at some point for any of the systems that I have, just because that was people's first experience with those games or with those systems, and I figured it would be a good thing for me to have as well. two other things. Actually three other things. When I was in just one of these recent weekends, I went to go visit my parents. We ended up going to the zoo, but I always tend to stop at the local thrift shops while I'm there. And they actually had some cartridge-based games, and so I actually picked them up. Granted, they were actually priced decently enough that I think that if I wanted to flip these that I could, and actually do all right for myself. A couple of them have some sticker issues, which I'll seek to correct at some point. First of which is a copy of Mario Duck Hunt. Again, that's a staple. Everyone needs a copy of that, and a lot of people who are selling systems tend to want to bundle something like that in there just because everyone wants it. I also got a copy of Double Dribble, which I know is, I believe it's NESRomancer's favorite NES game, or one of them. There were also two Genesis titles, the first of which was ironic because the zoo we went to had dolphins, and my son had never seen a dolphin before, and it was a lot of fun. We got splashed, and he survived, and he was fine. But I happened to find a copy of Echo the Dolphin, so I showed this to him, and he was pretty ecstatic. And I am too. I had this game. It's hard, and it is one that I will seek to play through and try to beat one of these days, because I don't think I ever got anywhere close to beating it when I was a kid. And then the last one for that weekend is Valis 3. And from what I've read on this, it plays a lot like a Castlevania game. I've played maybe a minute or two just to make sure that the cartridge worked. But I was going based off of the Renovation title. I know that developer made a lot of great stuff and a lot of shooters, so I initially thought this may have been a shooter, but it actually plays more like a platformer. So pretty content with those finds. I then had a big trade. So if you remember a while back, I was doing a purge of some of my the Xbox games that I was less interested in, and I happened to make a great trade with Cody, who is in the Iowa Retro Gamer Nation. He and I have done dealings before, and I was very happy to pick up some things from him. But we'll start with a couple complete games. We have PGA Tour Golf 2 and Sonic the Hedgehog 2. I have those. Excuse me, guys. And in with that, he also traded me a Model 1 Genesis. This is that high-definition graphics version, the one that's kind of sought after with the extra plugs in the back. Now, one of the things that he had mentioned was that the whites on this tend to come through a little bit yellow, so I may look to see if somebody might help me mod this at some point and see if that might help clean that up. But I did not have a Model 1 Genesis, so I'm glad to have that now. So pretty happy there. But there was a lot more to that trade, and so I will quickly go through these. I've mentioned it before that the Atari 2600 was my first real foray into video games, and a lot of titles that I had acquired so far were ones that maybe I hadn't played, but I was looking for a few specifically, and Cody had a large amount of extras, and so we did some trade there. So I will again find a spot for these. We'll go through these. So we've got Miss Pac-Man. We have Maze Craze, which I think just got recently played on a Mike and James Monday. We have Frogger. Video Olympics. Venture, which I've been told is a lot of fun, although the Coleco version I think is the one that's more sought after, or maybe a better quality port. We have Stampede. We have Bowling, which I played a lot of as a kid. Another one I played a lot of as a kid was Defender, and this game is awesome. I you can play this for a long time. So happy to have a copy of Defender. So I have a copy now of Adventure, which I have never played, but again, it's kind of one of those staples for the 2600 that I, again, couldn't pass up. We have a copy of Dig Dug and Tennis. This one's called Fast Food. It's a weird game. At some point I might try and get some gameplay for you on it. It's a tad bizarre. Indy 500. Donkey Kong Jr. Two more. Asteroids. And a copy of Pitfall. And this is actually a label upgrade for me, so I had an extra copy of Pitfall, which I may send off to somebody who is looking for a copy of Pitfall. Also, as part of the trade, I wanted to pick up, again, I'm picking up as many of the Cartridge Club titles as I can, so a copy of Metroid Prime in good shape. Happy to find that. He also had a few other things, so just hold up this box. We had a couple of controllers, RF, there's some paddles, which I needed another set of paddles, Genesis controller, and things like that. So, happy to have those, and thank you, Cody, for that trade. I know I'd had those Xbox titles out there for quite a while, so I'm kind of happy to be able to help somebody out who was looking for those eventually. So, also from Cody, about a week later, he had posted these, and I normally don't collect manuals, but I thought it would be great to get a manual for The Legend of Zelda and The Adventures of Link. And so I now have the games, now I have the manuals, and they are in great shape. The artwork is all, like, I love reading through these, because they do a lot of the story built into that. So, again, Cody, you're awesome. I'm really happy that a lot of these things, we were able to make a deal on those. So the last thing, and then I'll call this one good. The last thing I picked up actually was off of eBay. I had been scoping this for a while, and if you'll notice, there's if you see my Final Fantasy shelf, there's something that's missing, right? And it's more toward that end that I don't have complete like I do for Mystic Quest and 2 and 3. And so that I felt like I got a pretty good deal on eBay, but I did finally get a copy, the box, and it actually came with the game as well. A very clean copy of the game, nice label, better than the label that I had of Final Fantasy. So now I have that to go with my maps and my manual, so I now have a complete copy of Final Fantasy. So I will be proudly displaying this on that shelf, probably looking for a case for the box here, but yeah, this was one of my goals this year, right, is to fill out that Final Fantasy collection and get everything complete. All the cartridge stuff is done, so I'm pretty happy there. At some point I'll give you guys an update on where I stand with the rest. So all in all, I think that gets us pretty much caught up. I have a couple other things that are a little bit bigger, and I want to dedicate a video specifically to those transactions, so I will do that. And leave me a comment, tell me about what you found this summer so far. If you are one who goes out garage sailing, or if you have, I'd be interested to hear the big surprise, or that big thing that you were looking for that finally fell into your lap, like that Final Fantasy box. But I will call it there. Take care of yourself. Be good to each other. Bye.